What a human being is to his value, his capacity, his status is due to his islah. How he's been, you can say, taught and educated. If you don't have it, look at that generation today. In that generation era where there's no islah, where there's no good teaching, where there's no reformation and purification, then the difference is like the night and the day between the good and the bad. That's the difference. That a person who is given islah, people who are reformed and improved, they're like the stars and the moon in the sky. They have good akhlaq, their words, their manners, their conduct, their high level. Ma'ashara, the society is destroyed at that time. A society goes downhill at that time when islah and purification stops, when tarbiyah stops. Yes, so that same high level human being, he goes down so low that he gets worse than the animals when he's not improved and purified. How? Like I gave you the example of the generation. That islah, rectification, all the doors for rectification have been slammed shut. Islah has finished. Rectification. Yes, where the khankas were, when the wali walas was present in the world, when islah took place, rectification took place, reformation took place, then those generations, those eras, those times were really high level progression in akhlaq and good conduct and manners. But when it's just by name now, today, just traditions, and the practice is finished, then this era is spoilt now. This generation is spoiled. And how much is Allah happy with us now? Let's question ourselves. How much is Allah pleased with us now? That without islah, a human being, without rectification, without improvement, he cannot be a human being. He is like an animal. Fitrat and natural. Maybe he looks like a human being physically, but all his adat, his habits are like wolves. And like dogs, he takes somebody's money, don't care if he beats somebody or lies, he doesn't care. Shahawat and lust. His day and night, they pass in hubb dunya, love of the dunya. Dunya, world, material, dunya, paisa, money, nothing else does he care about. Overwhelmed by dunya. That thing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is displeased with most. There's a hadith in Tirmidhi. It's a unique subject of this hadith. Unique subject and meaning that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He loves a servant of His, a person, whoever Allah ta'ala loves, like we've heard this hadith before, it's a beautiful hadith. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He loves a human being, what's the sign of a person who Allah loves? What is it? What's the sign of a person that Allah ta'ala loves? The person who Allah loves, the Creator, when He loves somebody, then Allah puts that person into poverty, into distress, into hardship. Whoever Allah likes. Why? Because for this reason, that this najis dunya, this impure world, which is a waste of time, a waste of space, that Allah Ta'ala doesn't want His beloved servant to get lost in the world. Allah doesn't want him to get lost in the dirt of the world. So Allah says, I don't want the person who I love, who I give muhabbat to, that I put him into a dirty environment that will destroy him and eliminate him. And Allah Ta'ala saves a person from that. In such a way, Allah saves him just like a person who's sick and he's not meant to touch the moist water. We think it's bad. That, for example, this dunya is so impure in this manner. So, ma'ashara, the society, when it's spoiled, and the biggest desire that has arisen today is the love of the dunya overwhelms a person. That we're not disappointed at any time in our lives except for when there's dunya. We have got no fikr of the akhirah thereafter, but we're really concerned about this dunya, this world. And this era, generation, is this indeed. And it's apparent, it's visible, decisions will be made. We are going to pass away, and we are going to the hereafter. So the biggest thing today is that if we want to be saved, and if we want to be saved with regards to the hereafter from the punishment of the grave and hell, then the biggest factor we need to bring into our lives right now, which should be today in this day and age, is we need rectification, islah of ourselves. If you can correct a piece of wood and manufacture it, its value increases. Then what if a human being is rectified and improved? Imagine how his value increases. Dunya isn't just money, my friends. Dunya doesn't just mean money and wealth. Dunya equals when a person thinks and he wants that others consider him higher in status than them. This is dunya. If I'm there, I want people to stand for me. If I'm there, I want them to respect me, open the doors for me, because I'm better, because I've got status. recognition. This is dunya, world. So until a human being doesn't do his islah, improvement, rectification, in this day and age we have needs for nothing at all. Why? The human being becomes from one thing only. A human being becomes a human being from one thing only. Look, Allah Ta'ala has clearly told us in the Quran that I don't look at high levels, that if he's from a high level family or lineage or from big tribe. Allah doesn't look at these things. Allah says he's not of a high level or status to me. Allah says that's not my standard. Allah says I consider that human being in high level and who I draw him near to me, who has taqwa more than others. Doesn't matter which color, language, background, creed is. So this tafsir you're reading, you're looking for that tafsir, you don't understand, someone's illiterate, somebody's literate, somebody from the village area, what does he know about tafsir? He doesn't even know how to read the Quran. So has Allah Ta'ala, and Islah will only come from the Quran, say subhanallah. Islah, there's no door that you go to a special place. There's no scientist who will teach you Islah, rectification. No scientist. No literary person or learned person from the dunya can teach you Islam. Hasn't done until now, nor will he be able to in the future. Because for him is only one thing. Quran-e-Hakim is the only guide that can teach us Islam. Allah's kitab. So, but how we use the Quran? The Quran came really to do our Islah, to rectify us. That's why I said the doors for Islah have been closed today. We don't understand the Quran. We only understand the Quran for one purpose. We don't know any other reason for having the Quran. That's what I'm saying. People say read tajweed, improve your recitation. These are all different colors and forms and the effects of the Quran. They should be there, but the Quran wasn't just for that. The Quran doesn't cease there. Doesn't stop there. The Quran goes beyond that. The benefit of the Quran goes beyond that. The objective of the Quran is very much beyond that. Tajweed and learning the knowledge of the meaning of the Quran. It goes way beyond that, the benefit of the Quran. And we have to get Islah from the Quran. So if you look for tafsir, I want to read this tafsir, this scholar. Many people call me, Hazrat, tell me which tafsir shall I study? Which translation shall I study? And I say to him, what shall I say to you? What shall I say to you? Tafsir? What tafsir will you learn? What will you learn after that when you read the tafsir? You won't even understand until today. I haven't understood the tafsir of the Quran, so what will you understand? So for this purpose, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us a beautiful method. Because Islah, rectification, improvement of us as human beings will come from the Quran. So we need such a tafsir that every human being, believer can understand. Say subhanallah. Subhanallah. Even a villager who's illiterate, sat in the desert, he also needs akhirah. He wants the hereafter. He needs to learn from the Quran and from tafsir. So whose tafsir should he read? The illiterate person. Why are the arguments today? Oh, he's this and he's from that sect. And obviously in village areas and places where people are not literate, they have speeches and people, the scholars, they earn through that. They make people quarrel and fight. And you're this and you're that. You can't pray behind him. You can't pray behind him. That's where everyone's earning today in the world. This is not tafsir. This is not these tafsirs that we have today. That's what the end result is. Argumentation. But tafsir, Allah Ta'ala definitely has given tafsir of the Quran. There will be explanation of the Quran. Most definitely there will be tafsir. There will be no argument in it. There will be no fighting in it. No quarrel, no sects, no groups. Just one thing will emanate. Allah and His Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam will be placed on the highest level. That is the tafsir we need. And I've read that tafsir. I've read that tafsir. Have you got that tafsir? I bought it. I've got it. Yes, very fantastic tafsir it is. I'm surprised and shocked that tafsir, people don't study it, they don't read it. The explanation of the Quran. You will have heard of names, this tafsir of this sheikh, of this scholar, of this mufassir. I also read a tafsir. And shall I tell you who that writer is of that tafsir? Say subhanallah. So that you can also study it. I'll tell you the writer, the author of this tafsir. Will you then study that tafsir? You won't study that tafsir? And every man can study that tafsir. Every man can. Will you study it? Will you read it? Say it loudly. Yes. Because without that you cannot improve yourself. You need tafsir, you need the Quran to rectify yourself, to do your Islah. The writer, the author of this tafsir that I am telling you, do you know who that is? Shall I tell you his name? Allah Jalla Jalalahu is the author. Subhanallah. Yes, he is the one who sent the kitab. And Allah said, I will write the tafsir myself. Who wrote the tafsir of the Quran? Who is the author? Allah Jalla Jalalahu Himself is the author of the tafsir. Allah Ta'ala, what did He keep as the name of His tafsir? What's the tafsir? Seerate Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Laqad kana lakum Rasulullah fi uswatun husana. This is the name of that tafsir. The explanation. Do you not understand what I'm saying? Yes. And who wrote it? Allah's Mahboob's Mahboobs. Hazrat Aisha Siddiqa radiyallahu anha, she wrote that. She said, I will tell you the meaning. There's no greater tafsir. He is the walking, talking Quran. He is the greatest tafsir. Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Do you understand my point now? That Allah Ta'ala wrote the tafsir, and where did Allah write the tafsir? لَقَدْ كَانَ لَكُمْ فِي رَسُولُ اللَّهِ أُسْوَةٌ حَسَنَةٌ. This is the tafsir, walking, talking man. I sent the Prophet Muhammad. He is the tafsir of the Quran. He is the commentary, explanation, meaning, translation of Quran. You don't need to move your tongue to study this tafsir. You don't need to look for words. What do you need to do? You just need to imitate Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and you'll be studying the tafsir. Just imitate him. Do you understand my point, or you don't understand my point? All you need to do to study this tafsir, Allah said that I wrote, to study this tafsir, you don't need to read it, you just need to imitate the Prophet Muhammad. And the most illiterate and jahil of human beings, he can study this tafsir, say subhanallah. So you don't need no words to read, you don't need to study, look at it. Just you say, oh, the Prophet ﷺ did this, end of story. And all the information he gets, that student, from the source of the Prophet ﷺ's lifestyle, if he practices it, then straight to paradise that person will go. Straight to paradise. That tafsir has complete Islah for the human being. The tafsir of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. Whole Islah, rectification, improvement of mankind. Such a beloved tafsir. Have you seen this tafsir? The person who wrote it, author is Allah. And the name of the tafsir is Sirat Rasulullah, the life of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. And we've been given this, go and study it. Has anyone got any comparison with this tafsir? Can anyone dare after that to say, I've got a tafsir better than this? No way. And a person will be going straight to Jannah if he practices the tafsir. Straight to Jannah. Whoever imitates the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, he's reading the Quran in the best of manners. Best way, in such an excellent way is he studying the Quran. On every imitation of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, you get the reward of 100 shaheed. 100 martyrs. Then what a great statement Allah has made here. Beautiful statement. Allah says, alaykum anfusakum. Allah says, improve yourself, rectify yourself, worry about yourself. Reflect upon yourself. Always, every moment you should be reflecting, analyzing yourself. I need to improve myself. Do tafakkur on your own self. Think about your life, your practice. Formula Allah's Quran is telling us, this tafsir that I'm explaining to you, that the tafsir that I've studied, this is that tafsir. Sirat Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, the lifestyle of the Prophet Muhammad. Why do you look at defects in other people? If you're so concerned, then give nasiyah to that person, advise that person. If he does not rectify himself after that, you don't need to worry. Just get lost. You go to one side. Leave that person. Yes? What loss is he giving to you? La tadurukum. Allah says that no losses have you incurred due to that. This is the Quran, isn't it? Allah says in the Quran, clear. Allah says, you will all return to me. It's better that you have concern for yourself. So from here, a beautiful point arises, that if we want to do our own Islah, rectification, then what a beautiful point comes out of this. That instead of wasting time and talking about other people, if you've got concern for the hereafter, I'm talking for those, yes, those who really desire, they want to be saved from the fire of hell. May Allah Ta'ala give us Jannah and paradise, that all the goodness in paradise they want to earn. That then the defects you see in other people, instead of worrying about that, then here's the tariqah, the method of directing them in the right way. That in the night when you go, instead of fault finding other people, then just 10-15 minutes spend on yourself. Try this. 40 days if you do this, I'll tell you the formula. 40 days, chilla, do this for 40 days. Sit down, before sleeping, the day is ended, the evening has come, all the day is past, actions finished, sit down, you and me. Remember, as I said, I'm speaking to myself, and all we need to think is that today, during the whole day, what did I do today? Just bring it in front of your own self. And be honest with yourself. That the way we extract defects from other, oh, he's this and that, then start to bring out your own faults and defects. Be honest with yourself. That how much kibr was in you, how much pride was in you, how much takabbur was in you, how much did you do for the hereafter, how much are you immersed and drowned in the love of dunya that Allah Ta'ala dislikes. That if Allah loved me, then most definitely He would have extracted this from me, taken it out of me. What are the defects that are buried in me, stuck inside me? Just worry about these things, Allah Ta'ala says. Just ponder over these things. Alaykum anfusakum. That be honest with yourself. Analyze yourself. Don't do anything else. Just sit down and think that, Yar, I'm a very dirty, impure human being. I'm in a very bad situation. I should improve myself. And when a human being does this for 5 or 10 minutes, then from Allah's direction, a rahmah, mercy comes to that person. And the doors of thinking that he slams shut, that he spends time on other people and he doesn't look at himself, then those doors, that Allah Ta'ala will slam those doors, the negative ones, and open the positive ones for that individual. The path, slowly he'll see Allah, slowly so much energy will come, he won't think about anybody else after that. Rather, what? That he will praise other people. And the good things, the positives he'll see in other people, and he'll see the negatives in himself and talk bad about himself. This is Sirat-e Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam that explains and teaches and educates us.